What is up, Mets fans? It's good to see everybody. I love the fact that the chat's starting to roll in already. As you can see, flying solo today. Matt Ibanez here, aka Ibby, till Mets do us part, checking in on a Wednesday, like we always do, live and in living color here on YouTube. And this is also going to act as an audio/podcast version of the show. So thank you and shout out to everyone that is joining me so far. I see that the people are starting to roll in more and more. And as always, I wanted to put out there real quick, when I do fly solo, it's a little bit difficult to manage the chat as well as keeping the talking points moving and keeping the show, running smoothly in general. So I apologize. I'm going to do my best to star off potential questions and things I want to hit on throughout the show as I see them pop up in the chat. But as always, I appreciate each and every one of you that are here so far. And I can see 14 are here at the moment. I appreciate it. And obviously it is December 27th. Episode 125, I believe. 2 days removed from Christmas. I wanted to say Merry Christmas again. Happy holidays to everyone who celebrates. Hope you all had a fantastic time with friends and family. And that's kind of where I want to start. But before I start there, I did want to say a little bit of house cleaning. As always, I'm trying to do what John does so well. And that is, make sure if this is your first time here, make sure you hit the thumbs up on the video. Make sure that you like it. The more likes that we get, the more likely we are to end up on people's timelines. People can find the chat and find us and like the channel. And if they like what they see, they can do what some of you might not have done yet. If you haven't, the 22 that you're here so far, make sure you hit the subscribe button so you never miss anything when it comes to Till Mets Do Us Part. Want to make sure that everyone is here and they are subscribed. We had a goal of 500 before the year was up. We are blowing past that because you guys are so freaking awesome, have been supporting us nonstop the last month or so, and we're closing on 600. We have a shot at closing the year at 600 subs. So we are 24, or actually, I think 23 away last time I checked. So if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, I would love for it to be a goal before the stream is up within the next hour or so. If we can actually hit that 600 number. So we're 23 subs away. If you have not subscribed to the channel yet, please do so. Would appreciate it. We have a lot coming up in the new year. And as we've said, and I'll make sure I mention it later on in the show as well, January 10th, make sure those notifications are on. Terry Collins. That's right. Terry Collins, the great former Met manager, will be joining us, myself and John, on the show January 10th, 5:30 Eastern Standard Time. So sub the channel and you'll never miss out on anything that we have coming up within the new year. Having said all of that, let me look at the chat real quick, and I can see some people already pouring in. Now we're up to 25. Appreciate each and every one of you. We got my main man, Ant Rivera from Subway to Shea, saying hello. Good to see you, Ant, as always. Douglas Barnes is in the chat. Good to see you, Douglas, as well. Seeing Jeff Cohen, welcome in. Armand, good to see you as well, my friend. John Rossi, welcome in. Carlos Ortiz is here. We've got the whole crew here. I love it. And of course, the fantastic Keith Blacknick. I would have jumped in with you. So good to see you. Appreciate it, Keith. But if there's one thing I do like to say when it comes to me flying solo, I like the fact that it does give me a little bit of confidence, if you will, to get better at this and try to become even better when John's here. I can play off him even more. These solo acts have been really pushing me a little bit more to come out of my shell, which I think has been really coming across really well. I'm very proud of it. But there's one thing that must be said when it comes to, and look, there's not much going on with our Mets, but I do have some talking points I am going to go over. But I'm going to start off with Christmas Eve. Okay, Christmas Eve, I took it upon myself to put out a tweet that I thought would pop some Mets fans. And good to see Rael in the chat. Thank you so much, Rael. I appreciate it. I put out a tweet, and to steal a quote from Rael, who sent me a message saying that she didn't expect me to be a lightning rod to Twitter on Christmas Eve to Dodgers fans. I didn't think I would either, but I did manage to make a video that I wanted to post on here to show the tweet that I put out that was really meant to just pop Mets fans, but it got lost in translation, got pushed towards Dodgers Twitter, and they did not really have very kind words to say to me on the eve of Christmas. But I wanted to bring it up, and here's the tweet that I put up, and we'll talk about it in a minute. So as you can see, it's a picture of Shohei Ohtani and Yoshinobu Yamamoto, and they were holding a fish in the photo, and I took it upon myself to put the 4-2 score of the Diamondbacks beating the Dodgers in the playoffs last year to win it 3-0. And it was a joke. It was harmless. It wasn't meant to be anything more than what it was. And some Dodgers fans didn't really appreciate it. Of course, I was able to pop a lot of Mets fans, which made me happy. But did I think that tweet was going to get over 200,000 impressions on the eve of Christmas? No, I did not. I appreciated the traction that it brought to my personal page as well as the show page, but I did not think that I was going to be dealing with that many Dodgers fans on Christmas Eve. But I will say this, I had a fantastic time doing it. It was a lot of fun. I made sure that even the meanest of things that were said to me, such as people call me a moron, one guy called me an ugly MFer. I really laughed at that one. I thought that was great. But even with all the unkind things that were said, I still had some fun with it. I wish them all a Merry Christmas. And I had a good time with it. But that was a very interesting tweet, to say the least. And I had some fun. And the real funny thing is I actually ended up gaining some followers out of that are Dodgers fans that appreciated me being a good sport with them. And I, back to them as well. But I thought that was very funny. But there was something that must be brought up. And I saw this today, and I am shocked that no one has brought it up to this point. I'm going to call it's breaking news. And I'm shocked that no one's really talking about this, but it is breaking news in the baseball world. And I think it's perfect time for us to talk about this. So let's take a look. As you can see, Bat Flip Bombs on Instagram, breaking news, how the Dodgers have signed Godzilla from the North Pacific Ocean, 5 years, $200 million to bat cleanup behind the great Shohei Ohtani. The Dodgers cannot be stopped. They really can't. They got a mythological creature now batting fourth. It's incredible. Shout out to Bat Flip Bombs for putting out that breaking news of the Godzilla signing for the LA Dodgers. And yes, Jeff, I am getting creative. I'm getting more and more confident when it comes to Canva and creating things and understanding, how things work and transition. So I'm having a lot of fun with it. And I figured with not that much going on for our Mets, I wanted to have a little bit of fun and really go with it. And I love that Carson's here as always, and he's saying we're talking about angering Twitter users. Carson had a day yesterday. And shout out to Carson for, playing along with me as I poked a little bit as well to get some traction on my end with a funny picture. Not a funny picture, but just a picture of Jet Williams as he was dealing with some things on his end. But yes, the Dodgers, 5 years, $200 million. Godzilla is now joining the juggernaut that is the Los Angeles Dodgers. So that in itself, I thought that was really funny, and I wanted to make a quick video of that. And I thought it would be a fun thing to do and to just laugh about. But all things considered, 33 people of you in here so far. Make sure you sub the channel if you haven't already. Make sure you like as well. The more the people that are in here and liking the channel, the more likely we are to show up on other people's pages, and we can continue to grow. So again, hit that thumbs up and sub the channel. Would really, really appreciate it. Trying to hit 600. We're 23 away on the channel. So 23 more subs. Hopefully we can get it before the stream is up. But that being said, and I might pull up some comments here as well. Matt Williams, shout out to Matt Williams, former guest of the show. Welcome in, Matt. Hey, everyone, talking to Mets Twitter has taken 5 years off of my life. It's incredible. And, one thing I do want to say about Twitter in general, and the reason why I didn't really go at the people that went after me for that Dodger tweet, and I just wish them well and Merry Christmas and things of that nature, is because I wanted people to realize how ridiculous they are to take such offense to something that was clearly a small poke. And people got really angry, and there's no reason to, but I think people need to understand that Twitter, again, I say this to my students a lot as well. Twitter is not real. Social media is not real. And the severity that people take it to is just, it's ridiculous, and it's meant to be fun. And I think that's why I love, and I think others love, Mark Goodman's Twitter as much as they do, is because he makes light of everything, and he has fun with it, and that's what it's supposed to be. And the fact that people got so bent out of shape over the smallest of jokes. If Dodgers fans can't handle that one, they're in for a long year because, that first 3-game skid that they go on, they're going to get crushed by people. So, God bless them and their mentions moving forward. But having said all of that, our New York Mets, what are the things that we can talk about? And if you have questions about certain things that we're going to talk about eventually, I'll try to start them off in the comments. And I'm going to do my best to use the second half of the show to really hone in on the chat as well as questions. There were some things that I want to get into, and I'll play off the chat as well while I'm going through them. But a couple of things that need to be said, and 45 of you here so far, thank you so much. Hit the thumbs up, don't forget, and sub the channel. But when it comes to our New York Mets, a couple of reports have come out. Look, there's not much going on. And I was having a great back and forth with Ant Rivera last night, just talking about different things and how we were basically saying, like, people are running with things and rumors and trying to create these things in their head, thinking that this is what's going to happen. Then when it doesn't, they get upset and all of these things. And we need to just sit back. And I know it's hard, especially for content creators, to sit back and not talk about things. But, I'm going to go off of you guys today, and we'll have some fun with it. But there was a couple of things. Excuse me. There are a couple of things that can be spoken about. 50 of you are here so far, so thank you so much for joining in with us. Hit that thumbs up and the sub. Michael Mayer. Love Michael Mayer, former guest of the show. Can always trust the word of Michael. And he had put out a tweet a couple days ago, I think it was on Christmas, saying how the Mets have indeed checked in with Cody Bellinger. We did talk about Bellinger at length the last 2 episodes of the show. John has been a big proponent of Cody Bellinger. If the market had come down, he was a big proponent of Bellinger last year, who was trying to get that prove-it deal. He shows out for the Cubs, and now he's looking for his big payday. I still don't think that Cody Bellinger is going to be an option here, but you never know. It's one thing to just check in and see where you are with price range and things of that nature, just to get a lay of the land, if you will. I don't think there's much of it. I think it's smart to just check in with players, but the fact that it didn't really go beyond a tweet saying that they've checked in, I wouldn't take too much of that into account, but it is something that it's still worth monitoring because he is one of the bigger bats on the market. I don't think it's going to be a fit, but I still think that it's always a smart thing to check in. Now, in terms of another report that has come out, that being the one from Mike Puma late last night, saying how the Mets have strong interest, and I have it running on the bottom ticker here, strong interest in one Lucas Giolito. And I did post a poll on the channel within the chat, and you can see it. I don't have the numbers in front of me at the moment, but a good amount of you have voted so far on the question. When the question is simply asking, are you in favor of the Mets signing Lucas Giolito? And I have a video I'm going to show you in a moment, breaking down some things about Giolito. And once again, John has been a big proponent of Lucas Giolito for all the right reasons. Arm that provides innings, no qualifying offer, should probably come in at a 2-year price, 2-year contract length. We're going to talk more about contract length in a little bit, but a 2-year contract length, maybe 3, 2 with an option, depending on how the market goes. I still think someone like him is going to get paid. But, the interesting thing about Giolito is he's really come down in recent years. And it's something to look at. And it's always tough with a pitcher, especially, and Carson can attest this, because I know he said it before as well. When it comes to a pitcher and losing a little bit of luster on the fastball, getting that back could be difficult, which can make things hard for him, especially we're in a league now where velocity is king. Velocity is everything. And look, he still has a good slider. He still has good stuff, but it is something to look out for. And I'm just looking over and seeing Joel C saying we have to dumpster dive. I did make a logo for Dumpster Dave as a joke. So if people are curious on that one, I can send it to you. But it was all well and fun, not actually thinking that he is Dumpster Dave, but a funny joke nonetheless. But when it comes to Lucas Giolito, and I'm going to bring up the video right now that I had made, and this is just, it's a video that's showing you the numbers he had last year, which were not pretty, as well as the numbers that he's had over the average of his career to this point, which I believe has been 8 years. Okay, so let's take a look. So you can see 2023, 33 games, 8-15, a 4.88 ERA, 184 innings pitched, 204 Ks with a 1.31 whip. Not too far off from his career average, which is usually 34 games, 12-12 record, 4.43 ERA, 193 innings pitched, 205 Ks, and a 1.25 whip. And, I've talked about it at length, and I usually used Jordan Montgomery as the example when it comes to innings. I also used Eduardo Rodriguez as an example when it comes to innings. But as we're going to talk about later on, when it comes to contract length, it seems as though, and it was really, shout out to Ant Rivera and Subway to Shea for the interview that they did with Will Salmon, talking about how the 1 to 2 year type player contract deals are what they might be, playing with during this free agency period as opposed to longer length. Lucas Giolito does make sense because, again, when you look at the numbers, the guy provides innings. 193 innings pitched is the average for his career to this point. Last year he had 184. He was on 3 different teams. Okay, he still strikes people out. Look, he had a terrible year when it came to home runs last year. Obviously, you don't like seeing a 1.3 whip. Anything usually over a 1.2 whip is something of concern. You want to get lower than that. Can the pitching lab fix him? Can he come here and provide something of value for this team? Look, this team needs innings. I was talking with Ant about it last night. They need innings badly. You cannot have guys going out there from the starting rotation giving 2-3 innings on a nightly and killing the bullpen. And we don't know what's going to happen with this bullpen. I'm all about taking shots and allowing guys to figure things out and taking on guys that have different arm angles and things of that nature in the pen to see what works and really push this pitching lab and see what can come of it. I'm all about that. I think you're hoping that guys like Kyle Crick and Jorge Lopez rediscover themselves and they can be something, but you got to get innings on the front end. Lucas Giolito provides that. Am I the biggest Lucas Giolito fan? Far from. I've said to John multiple times, that's John's guy. Like, he's been on him more than me, but I can't sit here and pretend like, Giolito wasn't sharp in the first half last year. He was sharper than he was as opposed to the second half. And as if he wasn't really good when he was in Chicago, he had a decent stint there. You want to call it the sticky stuff. You want to say taking that away, took away some things from him. It's very possible they can definitely coincide with one another, but I still think it's a decent shot in the dark. I'm not going to sit here and make it seem like he's a savior because I don't think he is. But I think that he's something that this team needs in terms of innings. And if you can construct a good defense behind him, if you can keep the ball in the park, it's something that you can work with. And I think allowing the depth of his team, of this team, because there's going to be more signs. We know there's going to be. We're just impatient. Nothing's really happened yet. The market's going to start opening up now that Ohtani and Yamamoto are both off the board. But it's very important to realize that more people are going to come here. There's going to be more pitchers. But allowing the depth pieces to be that depth is what's really important. You don't want to put so much on the Tyler McGills anymore, the Jose Butos of the world, or even the young kids that could eventually come up and help this team this year, whether it's Hamill, Vassell, Scott, Stewart, whoever it may be. Not Tidwell, not this year. But names like that. You need guys that can eat innings. Giolito can do that. I think the biggest thing for him will be trying to keep the ball in the yard, and City can help him with that. And hopefully it's something that if he does end up coming here, I think it would be on the 2-year. And I mean, based off the way the market's going, he's probably going to get, 15 to 18 million a year would be my guess based off of this market and the desperation that everyone has for pitching. So that wouldn't shock me. It's crazy. It's a lot of money, but I think some guys in general are getting more than they should get. Eric Fetty got 15 million for 2 years. IKF just got 15 million as a position player, utility player, if you will, from the Jays today. I think Kiermaier got 15 million as well. So money's going to start flying. Again, it's play money. anything that can help the team is what should be really focused in on, as opposed to worrying about how much cash they're getting. Uh, Again, it's about making the team win, and that's what it's all about. And this team needs innings. And I've said it multiple times. When this team got innings from the starting pitching last year, they won games. It was very stop and start, but the times limited, very limited. But the times that this team got innings and got good pitching, the team actually showed out. So that's something to really look at. And hopefully if Giolito is a target for this team, like Puma says, and he does end up here, hopefully he can provide those innings. And like I said, lower the home run total. That'll go a long way in improving that ERA and hopefully that whip as well. I want to look over into the chat because I've been ignoring it a little bit as I went on a little bit of a tirade, but thank you. I'm going to scroll through it and see what's what. See Keith coming in here. Need to be pitchers, not hurlers. Velocity is big, but it's not everything. Look, true, the game is velocity at this point, but you need guys that can pitch. You need pitchers, which is why I've said before, I have no problem with just getting 5 dudes, if you will, in the rotation. They don't all have to be stars. They don't. I think Jordan Montgomery is a prime example of that, but I also don't think Jordan Montgomery is going to give you that next level. Do I think that guy should be getting $150 million? I still question if he will. I think he's going to end up in Boston. That's my guess. But that's a prime example of a guy that's a dude that goes out there, does his job, is a pitcher, doesn't overwhelm you with velocity. But a type like that could definitely go a long way. Joel C coming in with a big one here. Play the kids. Soto, $500 million in 2025, and Burns, $330 million, just blowing it out in terms of money. Look, we're going to talk more about the retooling and punting and transition year verbiage that everyone keeps on running with in a moment. I'm going to get into that once I get through some of these comments. Carlos Ramos checking in. Always appreciate the love, brother. It'd be flying solo. I wasn't about to miss this. Sorry, I'm late. All good. Welcome. I'm glad you're here. 47 people are here. Again, hit that thumbs up, hit the subscribe button. We're trying to hit 600 subs before the stream is up. Last time I checked, it was 23 away. Don't know where we are now, but make sure you hit that sub. Would truly appreciate it. Carson coming in with good stuff as always. Give Giolito a Woodruff-ish sinker, and he could be really good. Needs some more east and west depth. Always appreciate Carson when he comes in with the good analytical breakdown of a pitcher or any player that we're talking about, for that matter. And Subway to Shea, they need innings to supplant the fact that they have reclamation projects in the bullpen. 1,000%. Just talk about our conversation last night. Agree wholeheartedly. Joel C coming in. When Eric Fetty and Michael Wacha get multiple year deals, Giolito will be getting the same thing absurdly. It's true. Again, the market is desperate for arms. Teams in general are desperate for arms, and they're trying to get as many as they can because, look, I think with the pitching clock moving down another 2 seconds, it might seem like it's nothing, but guys are going to be pushing themselves even harder, working faster, and, not having as much stamina for some, getting used to it, what have you. Guys are going to get hurt, and people are going to do everything and anything that they can to make sure they have enough pitching within their systems. John Arias, if I'm not sure if this is your first time here, John, but if it is, welcome. I apologize if it isn't. Name, I'm blanking on the name. But how much are you giving LG, who is nothing but a solid number 4? Look, I think, honestly, I would say max like 2 years, $30 million. And if you want to give him an opt-out after 1, I would do that. But I wouldn't be shocked if he got more. As crazy as the numbers that I showed, they're pretty mediocre in terms of counting stats. But based off the market, I wouldn't be shocked if he got something along those lines. John coming in here. What about Imanaga? I'm about Imanaga, but I bring it back to Ant's conversation, Subway to Shea. If you haven't downloaded the episode via podcast audio or watched over his channel at Subway to Shea, if you haven't done that, make sure you do and watch Will Salmon with Ant talking about things. And Imanaga, I'm very intrigued by him. I'm curious to see how his meetings go within the next week when he comes into the States. Probably not going to be as lavish as the ones that Yamamoto got, But when he comes stateside for his interviews with teams, I'm very curious to see what type of deal he's going to get. We've talked about on this show using, as shout out to Carson who gave us a breakdown on it as well, using the Eduardo Rodriguez contract as an example to go off of, where it could be 4 years, 80, 5 years, 100. Are the Mets going to commit to someone at 30 for 4 to 5 years? Where the conversation that Ant had with Will seemed like they're more so in the 1 to 2. I'm about Imanaga. I'm very intrigued by him. I would gladly take him. I think he makes sense for the team. I still think it fits within the timeline, but I'm curious to see if the years are going to be a determining factor for this front office. Armand talked about a name that we've talked about at length as well. Shout out to Shea, who I'm not sure who is here, but I know he's over in India doing some great things. So I'm not sure if he's here today, but he's been a big proponent of Yariel Rodriguez. He fits the plan, being 26 years old and being competitive in 25 and 26. Agreed. I think he makes sense, more so in the pen. If that would be their big pen sign, I'd be about that. I'm definitely cool with that. I definitely think it can be something that makes a lot of sense. Just trying to continue to scroll through the comments as we're coming in at the halfway point, 26 minutes in. Talking about to Rob checking in. Ibby, yo, what is up, Rob? Welcome to the show, man. I appreciate you stopping by. Great stuff last night with CP. I was watching along, left a couple of comments, but good stuff with you guys last night as always. And I love seeing the Mets community to continue to collaborate with one another. I think it's great that we are building a space where Mets fans can actually enjoy conversation with one another, providing an escape for many Mets fans when they feel like their words fall on deaf ears, when you're constantly thinking about places, whether it's the bigger national media or even local radio that are just saying things to bait you into being angry. I'm glad that this show and Wardy and Rob and CP and Nelson and Ant and Carson and everybody, Joe and Connor and everyone that is a part of this community is building a space where Mets fans can actually be heard and have good in-depth conversation. I mean, I think it's an awesome thing, and I love that it continues to grow for many people. Joel C saying older pitchers will suffer. Scherzer is done. We don't speak about Max Scherzer anymore. No need to, but I understand the point and it is well taken. I already see that there's some Drew Smith blowback going on within the chat. I'm going to let that one slide. Talking Mets with Rob coming in. Giolito, Imanaga are my two options as of right now. Look, I'm with you. I would love it. I was just saying I'm not sure if this team is going to go for the 4 or 5 years with Imanaga at 30. I think it makes sense, but I've been more understanding and accommodating to that of David Stearns than many have been. I know the community has been in lockstep pretty much when it comes to Stearns in general and understanding a plan, but fans, obviously are not like that. But I'm curious to see what happens with Imanaga. I think he fits for a lot of teams. It's not going to be as crazy as it was for Yamamoto, but I still think you can get a really good pitcher at the age of 30, and also as lefty. Carlos Ramos is always staying consistent. Talking about Corbin Burns. I'm a big fan of Corbin Burns. I am. I don't think they're going to trade for him, but I am a big fan of Corbin Burns. Just continuing to catch up on this chat. Keith coming in here. So what you're saying is that the QBC should do another intimate lunch or dinner with blank soon. Hey, I'm about it. My phone's always on. If you want someone to host it, I'll definitely do that again. I'm not going to complain. Champ coming in from LA. Hello, Mets fans. Here to say hello. Congrats on your channel. Dodger fan here. I worry more when we play the Mets than the Yankees. Champ, if you're still here, I want to bring it up again because I don't know if you were here before. I had a big run-in with Dodger Twitter over Christmas Eve, over the holiday season. Here's the tweet that I sent. Would you have laughed or would you have attacked me like many did? I'm curious, champ, would you have laughed at that? Would you have yelled at me like many did? I'm curious on your take on that because a lot of people took a lot of offense to it. Not me so much. I'm sorry for the dead air right there. But I had to ask. Keith Keith coming in with some heat. Dodger Twitter came into your tweet late and then left early after it. Keith, you crack me up every time, man. You really do. That's a great one. But yeah, I love the fact that I had fun with that, but I am curious as Champ is a Dodger fan. I'm curious on his thoughts on that one. Because I got a lot of heat, but I had a lot of fun with it. Joel C coming in. Here's my idea. In 4 years, the next Yamamoto, Roki Sasaki. I've read up a lot about Sasaki. Yes, will be posted. He throws 101. He's also 6'4". I know that. Cheat now, Cohen. Give him $20 million under the table now. We need to rob and cheat and still get these guys. Look, I'm no crying in baseball. Oh, wrong one. No crying in baseball. Thank you, champ. I appreciate it. To Joel's comment here, and I was talking with Ant about this, Subway to Shea, for those who don't know. And I said that, the Mets have to build because you have to be something that is beyond a wallet. The Mets are a wallet right now. Sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. And it fell short, not because there was lack of trying when it came to Yamamoto. They matched it, didn't get a chance to go higher, wanted to go to LA, leaves, is what it is. Still offered a lot of money. But you need to become something more. You have to be. And that's the only way you're going to win. And, the Dodgers constantly churn out a minor league system, a farm system that continuously has turnover, and they trade people, and then the next person just recycles in. It's a nonstop wheel. And that's what the Mets are trying to get to. You have to become a wheel there. So then you have affordable pieces that are good throughout the diamond, that you're not paying as much. And I know the guy has all the money in the world, but the whole thing is you don't want $25 million players at every position. You fill out the diamond with guys that are good. You can still trade people to get other pieces and then utilize free agency the way it's supposed to be utilized, and that's spend big when that finishing piece is there. Think of the Dodgers. They go out and they get Mookie Betts. They trade for him. They extend him. Mookie Betts. They are able to go out and get Freddie Freeman. They have constantly good players, so they can go out and sign Shohei Ohtani and Yoshinobu Yamamoto, and they're still, well within an area to sign people. They can also trade for Tyler Glass now. It's like, that's what you're trying to get to. It takes time. It's great to have a wallet, but the wallet should be utilized as the closer when it comes to the finishing touches of a team. You have to build from within too. That's where this team desperately has fallen short over the last handful of years, and that's when it comes to development. And hopefully this team moving forward can do a much better job of that. Going back to the comments, got to build street cred. I agree with that. Rob coming in here. We were talking 2025 like it's set in stone. We get everyone we want in free agency, and we know it isn't always the case. It's true. It's true. Look, there's so many times where we've seen so many memes of potential Mets. And, you've seen Shohei in a Met uni. You've seen Soto in a Met uni. You've seen Yamamoto in a Met uni. And none of them come true because guys get signed, guys go elsewhere, they get extensions, they sign whatever, what have you. Nothing's guaranteed. It's not. I think there's a better field to work with in 2025. I think there are going to be definite guys that hit the market, Burns and Soto being two of them. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. My main man, Paul Revere, one of my favorite followers on here. Stearns will be fine. I agree with that. What streak did the Rangers have except money, though? Look, it's a great point, Rob. And when it comes to the Rangers, they do have a strong farm system. A lot of guys that are upcoming, the Sebastian Walcotts of the world. You've seen Evan Carter. Wyatt Langford's going to plug into their lineup on opening day probably, and he's going to be a stud. And then it's spending your money wisely, and that's the whole thing. Like, you can have all the money in the world, but if you don't buy the right guys, it's not going to work. They bought the right guys. Corey Seager, worked out in spades for them. Marcus Semien is an Iron Man. He's always on the field, provides great offense in that park. He did it while he was in Oakland. He's continuing to do it even at an older age for Texas. Like, you got to spend money wisely. That's the whole thing. And I think that's where Mets fans are getting so lost right now. It's like they want to spend money just to spend money. Maybe it's not the smartest thing to give Blake Snell 7 years. Maybe it's not the smartest thing to give a long, beyond the 4-year deal to someone like Jordan Montgomery. Maybe it's not smart. Mets fans just want to go, and keep on like I've said before, putting that Band-Aid over a bullet wound, and you wonder why you still bleed out and things don't work and things die off. You need to build from within better. That's really what it comes down to. And it takes time. Like, people don't want to hear it, but it does. And hopefully they have the right pieces in place in terms of management and coaching, because that's really what it's going to come down to. And I know that people don't like hearing that David Stearns might end up being the top prize for the Mets this offseason, but you need to have someone that's riding, that's steering the ship, if you will, in a proper direction. I think we have the right guy. I think we just have to be a little more patient. That's all. Continuing to read in some of the comments along the way. Joel C's been acting. I want to keep giving him some credit. People attack the Braves for some reason. They're in the playoffs every year. We need some consistency. We do. We definitely do. No one is saying 2025 is a guarantee, saying that we should be part of the thing. Okay. And then finally, I'll go into the break on Rob's comment here. But if we suck in 2024, what incentive do we have to show free agents to come here other than money? And I've seen that one spoken about a lot. And thank you for bringing that one up, Rob. And I'll answer that before we go right to the break. I think that if you it's not so much being a team that's like, if this team goes out and is just god awful and they win 60 games, like, that's a problem. But I don't think that that's what's going to happen. I still think there are pieces here that can definitely work. And I think that what they're going to try to do is bring in ready-made pieces on the short end, like the Justin Turners of the world, from an offensive standpoint, like a Lucas Giolito, and maybe some other dart throws from the pitching side, if you will, that can provide innings. And they're still going to try to win games. Will this team win 75 games? Yeah, maybe they will. Maybe that's what's going to end up happening. Or maybe a couple things break right with some of the pen arms. And I know people don't like hearing, I know that we've heard hope is not a strategy. But the point that I'm trying to make here is, if you have ready-made players, which this team has, it has a strong core. It has a core already that you can work with and can provide offense and some pitching to an extent. We still have to get more, but it can still win ball games, is my point. I still think that this team can compete if they bring in the proper pieces. So, like, yes, if this team brought in a Giolito, a Justin Turner, I'll use Michael A. Taylor as an example. I don't think they're going to bring him in now, but I'll use him as an example as another outfielder. And then you grab 2 more pitchers to sprinkle in, whether it's on the front end for the rotation or into the bullpen, what have you. If you do something like that, I still think this team can win some ball games. And it allows the young kids to also come up and sprinkle in. And if they provide and they show what they can do, it's the point that I made last episode. And that was, not only are you working with a core of Brandon Nimmo and Francisco Lindor and Pete Alonso and Kodai Senga and Edwin Diaz, you're then seeing, and if they show out, players like Luis Angel Acuna, sorry, Carson, Jet Williams, sorry, Carson, Drew Gilbert, okay? If those guys come up and provide something, same thing with the pitchers that I mentioned before, if they come up and provide something, it does provide some incentive to people to want to come in, because they can say, well, they might be on the upswing. Like, the wins weren't there, but we saw a lot of things, and they can be moving in the right direction. And also, you have to get to a point where you're not spending all your money in free agency. You have to be able to take things from the minors, and that's been our biggest problem, and that's been development. Now, I'm going to hop into the break. We're 40 minutes in. I'll hop into the break. It's going to be a 20-second spot. We have 53 people in here. If you have not hit the thumbs up on the video, please hit the thumbs up. I would love to get 50 thumbs up for this video before the stream is up. That'd be great. I would love it. It would help in terms of getting it out there a little bit more. If you haven't subbed the channel, last time I checked, you were 23 away from 600. I'm hoping to break that before the stream is up. If we can get the 600 before this year is up, that would be fantastic. Hit the sub, hit the thumbs up for the like. I'm going to go into a break for 20 seconds. Don't go anywhere. We will be right back. And just like that, we are back. Welcome in, everybody. I'm just going to write down my spot that I was so I can work on the editing later on. Welcome back into Till Mets Do Us Part. 54 people are here. Thank you so much for joining us. As always, like I just said before I went to the break, I will say it again. Make sure you hit the thumbs up for the video. Make sure you hit the sub, closing in on 600. Would love to get there before the year is up. Would love to get there before the stream is up. So make sure you are subbed to the channel. Spread the word of Till Mets Do Us Part. Again, checking in with the chat, trying to catch up as much as I can. Again, I apologize for being a little bit behind when it comes to the chat in general. A little tough to be talking, and then everyone's always having side conversations. It's always moving, things of that nature. But I am going to utilize the second half of the show to just really go off of the chat and have a conversation with you guys. Because like I said before, there's not much going on in Metsland that we know of outside of the things that we spoke about in the first half, that being the report of checking in on Cody Bellinger, the extreme interest that was reported on Lucas Giolito by Mike Puma at the Post. Outside of that, there's not been much. So we'll continue the conversation and potential ideas for this team within the chat. And at some point, I will hit on my whole retooling and transition year type thing that people continue to speak on. Uncle Ted might be a first timer here. Welcome, Uncle Ted. I appreciate you being here. The players to go after are Stewie Ruiz, Ryan Noda, Brett Rooker, Brian De La Cruz, and Jazz Chisholm. That's 150 steals and 100 homers for less than $5 million. Look, all good players, all cheap and affordable players, though. That's why I think it's hard to get those away from those given teams. We're talking about Oakland there, and we're talking about Florida. Always trying to get rid of things, I know, and trying to go even cheaper. But it might be tough getting those players because they are so cheap and affordable for those teams. And as much as they don't like spending money, they still have to put players on the field, so they want to put cheap ones out there. But I appreciate the comment, Uncle Ted. Keith coming in. 2023 team was listless and had no oomph to it. You need to show that the team has life and is ready to get to the next level. I think youth goes a long way with that. Show life and free agents will come. I often think of, if you show life with youth and you have money, it just goes even further. Like, imagine if Cincinnati had money. Like, seriously, imagine if Cincinnati was willing to actually go out and spend. They did it one off season and they ended up trading people. But, that's an exciting team. Ellie De La Cruz, Matt McClain, Christian Encarnacion Strand, Spencer Steer, Noelvi Marte, Nick Lodolo, Hunter Green, Abbott. Like, they're an exciting team. They really are. If they would spend money, like, a lot of people will want to go. I know it's Cincinnati, but money talks. It's a young upstart team. And I think youth goes a long way with where baseball is right now when you look at some of the better teams. Continuing to check the chat, scrolling through. Thank you for checking in with this one, Jeff. 72% in favor in the poll. Those that are not in favor, if you are here, please drop a comment. Let me know why you're not in favor of Lucas Giolito. Myself, I too am not the biggest Giolito guy, but I understand why they would go after him. Reasons that I mentioned before, specifically innings, makes sense in that sense. So curious as to people that voted no on the poll. Paul Revere coming in. You can suck and still get good players if they see there is some progress and a real effort along with the money is being made by the front office. They'll come. I agree with that. I do. I think it goes a little bit deeper. Look, a lot of guys just want money in the end, but sometimes you got to throw in a little bit extra because New York is not the easiest places to play, if you will. Uncle Ted coming in with more on Ryan Noda. He's Matt Olson 2.0. Crazy exit velos. Another reason why I think they're going to hold on to him, at least until it's time for them to get rid of him. Then they'll try their best to cash in. And by cash in, I mean they'll probably fumble that one, just like the Olsen deal. Keith coming in again. So what you're saying is that Cohen should buy all the players off the Reds. I wish. The Reds are a fun team to watch. I love baseball. I love my Mets. I love watching baseball. And the Reds are just such a fun team to watch. A lot of teams. I mean, Arizona was fun to watch. Baltimore's fun to watch. And I think that's a point that Carson has made multiple times in the chat here on his show, Mets Weekly. If you're not following them, make sure you are over on Mets Weekly Pod. If you're not following them, make sure you are. But a point that he makes, it's like you're old. You're an old team. It's hard to watch old guys play. It is. And the thing that I mentioned about those three teams just right there, they're all young. They're vibrant. They're upbeat. They're running. They're stealing. They're hitting home runs. It's like, I want that. I want to have that. I haven't had that in a while. We've been a bit of an older team trying to go for it. Now it's time to reset a little bit. Killer Kelv coming into the chat. Good friend of mine, Brian, checking in. I appreciate you here, Brian. What would need to happen in the season for the Mets to think about or even pursue Alonso and or Diaz to retool the farm and other major league spots, assuming no Alonso extension? Loaded question. I don't see either leaving. I don't. I know the people in this chat that wouldn't agree with me. I know there's people on Twitter that won't agree with me who might watch the show, but I don't see all right, I'll put it this way. The only thing that I could see is if the Mets bottomed out so bad and a team was so desperate. I'll give an example. Mets bottom out so bad, everyone gets hurt, nothing works in the bullpen, everything just goes to absolute shit, and nothing works. They're one of the worst teams in baseball. Like, if that happens and the Cubs are beyond desperate for a bat because they didn't re-sign Bellinger and they didn't sign Rhys Hoskins and they want to get power and they are willing to pay up for, Pete Alonso. Like, there's an example where, yes, if you can force them to give you something good, you're not going to get Pete Crow Armstrong. You're probably not going to get Cade Horton either, but you can push in those spots or demand one if they're that desperate. But I don't see Alonso being dealt. I don't. And I know people like to say that, anyone is tradable. And I'm not disagreeing with that. Anybody is tradable. You can get rid of anybody if the proper return is there. I don't think that this team is going to be that bad to the point where they're going to trade Alonso. I don't. I could be proven wrong, and I will admit if I am wrong if that day comes when it comes to Alonso. But I have a hard time seeing it. Diaz not going anywhere. I don't see that. I don't see him going anywhere at all. But Alonso is the one that everyone's going to talk about. I don't see an extension coming. Everyone pushes for it and says you're going to offer all this money to Yamamoto, just offer it to Pete. I don't think they're going to do it. I think he's going to go into the season and then into the offseason. And then they're going to treat it the same way that they treated Diaz and Nimmo. And we'll see what happens. I still think he's going to be a Met. That's me. But we'll see what happens. Thank you, Brian, for being here. I appreciate it. Brian, who, for those of you who don't know, is a big Yankees fan, but he is a friend. So I appreciate him jumping in for some Mets talk. Keith coming in. Saps likes G Little because he has a vowel at the end of his last name. Oh, man. Always do it. You just do it to me, Keith. You always do. Carlos coming in. I know this is a hypothetical, but gives us something to talk about. What do you think would be a good package that gets the trade for Burns done? Just curious. I think the Brewers are against the wall when it comes to Burns. I think he's still pissed off that they treated him the way that they did in arbitration. I think it kind of showed in his performance last year. But I mentioned last show, if you follow the guys over at Pitcher List, they spoke on Burns and how his stuff is very correctable. So I think that he's going to be fine this upcoming year. But the fact that he goes on foul territory, says that I'm this close to free agency, I'm ready to test it. I think he wants to get out. I think he wants to get his payday. I don't blame him when having to go through that stuff where a team blames you for their failures in the postseason. I think it's really shitty and the wrong way to go about it. But I guess arbitration in the business side of baseball can get ugly. So in terms of a deal, would the Mets? I'd see. It depends on the internal look on it. Would the Mets trade, Luis Angel Acuna and a pitcher? Would they trade Luis Angel Acuna and Tyler Stewart for Corbin Burns on a rental? I don't know. Should the Mets do that? I don't know. But I think it's something along those lines. I don't think they're going to get that good of a return. I always say that when there's 1 year left, you're not going to get that good of a return, no matter how hard you push, which is why I am kind of against the whole Alonso trade, because you're not going to get anything at this point. Nothing that helps you, nothing that makes you better. It's more so like middle tier depth. You're not getting a difference maker with 1 year. It's the way it goes. Smart teams know that I'm not going to give you much. So I think it's good. Look, you could do something along those lines, and I think it would get done. But I also think that the Brewers are going to be stubborn, and unless they're really blown away, I think they're going to hold on to him. And if anything, they'll trade him at the deadline. Paul Revere, my horse hooved up Ibby. You got two with me and my horse. I appreciate it, Paul Revere. I always love the puns with Paul Revere and his horse. It's always fantastic. Winning teams pillage the poor teams. It's true. They do. 100%. Jonathan India. I know Jonathan India is a hot topic for a lot of Mets fans because his dad's a Mets fan and his dad watches Mets games instead of watching Reds games. I don't think Jonathan India is a fit. I think the Reds will do anything to get rid of him, but I don't know if him coming here, because when you look at the underlying numbers, you look at his overall stats, I really think he's had one good year, and that was the rookie year. I don't think he's that great. If it happens, I'll be fine with it, but I don't think it's going to happen because I don't think they see it as a fit, especially when they have such a glut of middle infielders within the system already. Alonso on the 2025 Dodgers. Let's hope not. Someone new, and I love the name. I had to bring up G Money Stacks 555 coming in and saying, please don't trade Pete Alonso. He's the best first baseman power hitter we've ever had. I agree with that. I want Pete to be here for life. I want to see him break all the records and go down as one of the greatest hitters, power hitters, if you will, that the Mets have ever had. Topping everything with Darryl would be great. Is it going to happen? I'm still confident. I'm still confident that it will be, but we will see what happens. Mr. G Money Stacks 555. I think McNeil's better than India. Whew. It's close. It's close. Yuki Matsui. I'm so thankful that Yuki, coming off that deal with the Padres, is still a frequenter of our chat. Much appreciated. Bye-bye, Pete Alonso. I don't like that one, Yuki. I don't like that comment at all. Joel C. coming in. Mets need to concentrate on their bullpen. Diaz is on an island in that pen. It always seems like every pen on other teams have 3 to 4 guys that throw 98 plus. Mets have one in Diaz. We've spoken about that at length on this show. The Rays, look at the Brewers, always have these guys nonstop. But again, I'm going to keep this comment up because you say that every other pen has 3 or 4 guys. And I guarantee you, three 3 and 4 of those guys you probably never heard of. But then the Mets sign guys that you never heard of for the pen. And the Mets fan gets angry because they say, who the hell is this bum? Who the hell is this guy? I don't want this guy. This guy had a 4 ERA last year. He stinks. Well, sometimes you got to take on some reclamation projects to try and find and build that pen. And, those Brewers pens have been good for years. And the guy who built those pens was David Stearns. So I think it's time that we let the guy, do his thing and try to figure some stuff out. Love the traction in the chat right now. 59 people here so far. Thank you so much, guys. We're almost at an hour in. Love each and every one of you. Again, if you haven't already, make sure you hit the thumbs up. Hit the subscribe button. We are closing in on 600 subs. Hopefully, we can get there before the end of the stream. But if not, hopefully, we can get there before the end of 2023. A lot of big things planned in 2024. Those of you that are subbed or who haven't subbed yet, make sure you turn on those notifications as well. Because on January 10th, 2024, former Mets manager, the great Terry Collins, will be here live with myself and John, talking Mets baseball, past, present, taking your questions in the chat. Turn on notifications so you can be a part of the episode where all of our asses are going to be in the jackpot. So make sure you sub and turn on those notifications. Much appreciated. Going back to the chat, looking at Joel C here, just for Burns, Jet Williams, Vassell, and Mauricio. Joel, are you saying you think that that's what it's going to take to trade for Burns on a 1-year deal? Because there's no way they're going to have to give up that much on a 1 year. Absolutely not. Nobody is paying that price. And I know the Mets farm system is often questioned or being top heavy, so they always ask for the top end players. But I do not think you're giving up that much for 1 year or even a half of year of Corbin Burns. I don't think it's going to cost that much. Killer Kelp coming in again. Do you trade Alonso if it's a mediocre season to at least get something in case he walks? See, one thing that often comes up with people is they think, oh, if you stink, trade him, get something, and then try to sign him in the offseason. I never know what the dynamic is there. Like, is there a hush-hush thing where it's like, oh, I want you, hey, Pete, we're going to trade you to Chicago, but, we're going to re-sign you in the offseason. We're going to get a couple of some depth pitchers, and you're going to come back. Like, does that exist? I don't know. But if you trade a guy somewhere, he might love where he goes and says, you know what? I like what they're building here. It's going to happen quicker. I like this park. I like these fans. It's not as much scrutiny as New York. I get to start fresh. Stuff like that can happen as well too. So again, I'm still not there. I'm not there in terms of dealing Pete, even if it's for something with that idea in mind. Carlos saying he agrees with me. The Brewers cannot ask for something outrageous. They can't. There's no way that they can. And I know that teams are desperate for pitching, but no one's going to pay up. Teams have gotten smart now. And we are going to be one of those teams finally, being smart, not getting taken advantage of, where Uncle Ted in the comments before saying smart teams pillage the poor teams. Rich teams pillage the poor teams. For the longest time, we were a dumb team and a poor team. And you saw that with the likes of Brody Van Wagenen and some of the things that Epler did to an extent. And prior to that as well, Zach Scott, no Jared Porter, but even things prior to that, Sandy Alderson, people took advantage of us, did a lot of stupid things. So you can't ask for much. You're not going to get much. There's no way. Love the action in chat, guys. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Just scrolling through here. I see that Keith saw that my comment on Darryl Strawberry. Talking Mets, Rob says, bingo. Hopefully it was something that I said, not in the chat. Hopefully I said something good. I appreciate it, Rob, if it was me. And if it wasn't, congrats to anybody who popped Rob and got him to say bingo. Coming in again with G Money Stacks 555. And it almost says, every time you come in, G Money, I'm going to say your name just like that every single time. And I'll probably always pull up your comments. I love saying your name. If you had to pick a player to play left field and third base, which prospects catch your eyes? I think third base is tough right now because that guy was Ronnie Mauricio. And I don't think there is a third baseman in the system right now because I don't think it's smart to move Jet or Luis Angel Acuna to third base. Outside of that, I don't think there's much. So I think third base is kind of in the middle right now. There's not much there because for me, I think it was Mauricio. In terms of left field, I think you can see Drew Gilbert. I do. I think Drew Gilbert can find his way onto this team at some point this year. I know it's been a talking point for some other shows. I think Drew Gilbert makes a lot of sense. If he can show out, if he proves something during the spring, and he does well, if they start him at AA or if they start him at AAA, wherever it may be, if he shows out, he definitely has an opportunity to make some noise for this team, especially if they don't sign another outfielder. He's going to get every single opportunity in the world to make a difference for this team in 2024. I wholeheartedly believe in that, and I think he makes a lot of sense. And you could see something along those lines where he's playing, whether it's left or right field, at some point this season if he does well enough in the minors. Definitely. So Drew Gilbert is the name that sticks out to me there. Keith saying, don't let the truth get in the way of Mets X's narrative. Hey, everyone's going to have their opinions when it comes to Twitter, X. I'll call it X eventually, but everyone's going to have their feelings. And that's a sad part because there's a lot of infighting going on within the community. Not amongst the content creators, though. The content creators have been in lockstep, which has been fantastic. So no one's really attacking anybody. We've all been in lockstep in terms of understanding things. And a lot of us have the same ideas, or if it's just like different players, but the same idea. It's great that everyone has those visions of what this team can be. It's fantastic. It's the downtrodden fans that refuse to look beyond their misery and beyond the Wilpon era and want to be like the Frank the Tanks of the world, the Joe and Clarks, that clown, those people of the world. They want to get lost in those feelings. So, let them do their thing. I'm going to keep doing mine. And shout out to all the content creators that are doing theirs as well. Continuing to look at the chat, we're over an hour in. 60 people are here, or it was 60, now it's 58. But either way, if you haven't, again, sub the channel, hit the thumbs up. Much appreciated. Trying to hit those certain numbers about the bullpen. All right, good stuff, good stuff. Let's see, what else do we have? Champ coming in with a little bit of a dig and a little bit of a troll, but I like it because I can laugh, unlike a lot of Dodgers Twitter, but I can laugh. He's back. He was watching the introduction of Yamamoto because Yoshinobu Yamamoto did become official today with his 12-year pact with the Los Angeles Dodgers. Shout out to the Dodgers for getting their guy, paying up for their guy. And I appreciate Champ because he's an LA fan watching the Met show, and he has good fun with it. So thank you, Champ. I appreciate it. Yuki coming in. Should the Mets take a chance on problem players like Herman and Julio Urias? Is it Urias or Urias? I always get it wrong. I'm going to call him Urias. Julio Urias, whatever it may be. Julio. I'm going to call him Julio. Do I think that they will? I don't. I don't think they're going to. I think this team has a lot of rebuilding in terms of an image to go along with, and I don't think that they want the headache. That would be mine. Do I think that they have talent? Sure. Do I think Trevor Bauer has talent? Sure. But me personally, I know others. I know Rob was talking about Bauer last night along with CP on their show. But I don't think they're going to – my thing, it just comes down to I don't think they want to deal with the backlash. I don't. And it's easy if a guy goes out there and performs, you can say, well, they're going to talk about his performance. And you're not wrong when you say that, but I don't think – and I know we're not dealing with the Mets and the press and dealing and making moves based off of the press, but I think just in general, I think that the likes of Urias and Bauer specifically are going to have a hard time getting jobs because I don't know if the word's going to be blackballed, but I just have a hard time seeing them getting work moving forward. I might be wrong. They both might get signed by someone. But for me, that's just my thought process on it. Um, I think that they are, in that court of public opinion, and I think it's going to be hard for them to shake that, which in turn is going to lead to teams saying, "Thanks, but no thanks." Let's take a look. Beatty or bust. Colin Houck is my third baseman. I can never know if Carson's telling the truth or not when it comes to prospects because I know he has his feelings on guys. I'm not sure if he's being legit or not. CP coming through. CP, I know he's a big Drew Gilbert guy. We'll see if Drew is on this team at some point in 2024. That'd be really cool to see. The guy has a lot of energy. Uncle Ted, Beatty sucks balls at third. Chapman is a defensive god at the hot corner. His glove alone lowers the staff's ERA by at least half a run. I don't think the Mets are going to sign Matt Chapman. I think he's going to get a lot of money from someone else. I can see him going to San Francisco as they continue to try to lure guys to play there. I don't think he's going to play. Shout out to Baseball Tone and the Tone Deaf podcast. I know that they are big on Matt Chapman, and I shouted him out constantly the last handful of episodes when it comes to Matt Chapman talk. I know that's his guy, but I don't think that they are going to go that way. G Money Stacks 555 coming in. I did hear about Drew Gilbert from another YouTuber who has a podcast on his podcast talking about him. What is your prediction on Drew Gilbert? Do you think he'll be with the Mets by Memorial Day weekend? It's hard to answer that one, mainly because I don't know what this team's going to do in terms of signings for the outfield at this point. They need someone else. Who are they going to sign? And I think depending on that signing and really how Starling Marte, which I am not banking on anything from, but how Starling Marte, performs, I think it's going to dictate a lot in terms of Drew Gilbert's window of being called up. Because if this outfield as constructed right now is what it is, I think Drew Gilbert should be up rather quickly. But I do think they are going to sign someone else, and but I wouldn't be shocked if it's someone that doesn't they're given an opportunity, but it's not one that's one that really hinders the team with their flexibility. Because I can see them signing someone and then simply saying, Gilbert showing out, we're playing Gilbert. I could definitely see that. So it's hard to predict right now, but I do think the signings that they make at outfield is going to give you a better idea of how they feel about someone like Drew Gilbert and how he might help this team as early as 2024. Carson coming in saying the Blue Jays hitting coaches turned Chapman into Beatty. The time to get him was 2 years ago, and they decided to get the funny guy who makes TikToks. Carson always has his strong feelings, especially when it comes to the Blue Jays. I know that one's been predominant in the chat for a while now. But I trust Carson. I trust Carson in the things that he says. Following along with the chat. Keith coming in. So if the Mets bring back Turner, is he Cody Rhodes or is he CM Punk? I love a good wrestling tie-in. For me, I think Turner would be Cody Rhodes. Should be welcome back. It's a good guy. It's funny. Everyone loves the Christmas video of Justin Turner from years ago. Would have been funny if they signed him on Christmas and they replayed that video. Would have been great. I think Turner would get a good reaction. I do. I think it'd be Cody Rhodes type if I'm going that way. Carson saying that Manaea is the safest free agent pitcher out there. Look, Sean Manaea has the stuff. It's just really honing it in. I don't have the numbers off the top of my head, but him going to San Francisco, I really thought he was going to turn because they're a pitching factory. I thought Manaea was going to really show out in San Francisco this past year, and it didn't happen. If anyone has the numbers, I'd appreciate them, but it didn't go the way I thought it would. It really didn't. Joel C coming in. Did Mets fans already forget that in the last 5 years, the Mets have had issues with managers, GMs, etc. off the field? They do not want Bauer or Herman adding to that crap. It's a good point. There's been so much turnover throughout the Mets organization and issues. Drunk driving, sending, illicit pictures, just a lot of dumb things that you don't like being tied down to. You look back at Reyes's, DV situation, a lot of things like that. Like, teams don't want it. They don't. And even if people get cleared from the court system or what have you, there's still a stain. There is a lot of times that there is, whether that's right or wrong for people. But I have a hard time seeing them want to take on people that have those types of issues. So I'm with you on that one, Joel. Carson coming in with his Houck take. Houck is 6'2", big pull side. A little too early to tell, though. We'll give it some time. See how he does this year. Coming up. I think we need a Mets content creator, wiffle ball tourney. I'm in. I'm ready. I'll show you how it's done. I can hit the ball. If you want my stats, I can send them to you. I'll send them to you later, Keith. I'll send you my stats so you can see I was a decent hitter. Continuing through the chat. I know Killer Kelb was also big on this one. Trade all prospects for proven players. Prospects mean nothing. Prospects are capital. Prospects are lottery tickets. Prospects can be stars for you or stars for someone else. But if it brings you a star and it helps you win, that's all that matters. So I think that, yes and no to that one. If you can get something proven that could definitely help you now and in the future, yes, trade the prospect. If it's a big-time player, do it. But it's important to have those things so you create that turnover. Like we talked about with the Dodgers. They constantly trade away guys, and you're like, they got to be done. Their farm system's probably in the bottom half now. And it's like, no, they're still top 10. It's like, Jesus Christ, it just keeps on going. So they can keep on doing these things. That's what you want to get to. Finally caught up with the chat. Thank you. We got 65 people in here so far. I love the fact that it's growing more and more. Manaea was, here we go. That's my sports. Let me know that Manaea was 7-6, a 4.44 ERA with 117 innings pitched. That shocks me. It really does. I thought the guy had the stuff. I thought going to San Francisco would really make a difference for him and allow him to hone in like it did for like Alex Cobb and those types, like Anthony DeSclafani. Like, they go there and like things just got fixed. It didn't work for Manaea. And that really shocked me because I really thought that he would be something for them. It didn't happen. Makes you wonder then. Makes you wonder about him. If the Giants couldn't get him right, can anyone get him right? I don't know. Maybe it's just a difference in maybe it's just a difference in philosophy for some. Taking a look here. 4.44 is better than a quality start. It's true. I guess I expected more from him because of his talent. I thought he'd be in the threes, a little bit lower, a little bit sharper. I don't know what his whip was in terms of how many guys he was walking to. But maybe they like San Francisco. Could be that too. Easily. I don't think Adam Ottavino is coming back. He opted out of his contract. I've been seeing him on Baseball Night in New York. Ottavino, I'm done with the Frisbees. I'm finished with it. I don't need it anymore. I want different looks, different players in this pen. I'm tired of looking at the same people year in and year out. It was time. I was fine with that one. I know I've said before that you need established names of people that you can expect things from within a bullpen. You can't just have all no names. You got to have some guys that can provide what like a David Robertson type. You kind of have that right now with Diaz and with Rayleigh. Like, you know what to expect from guys like that. But it's a little bit much to bring back Adam Ottavino again. So yeah, I don't see him coming back either. Let's try hashtag no Frisbees. Maybe I'll make that into a shirt. Hashtag no Frisbees. Whip was 1.24. Okay, not too bad. I just said before, like, when you're in the 1-2s, you want to be 1-2 and below when it comes to whip. Not too bad. Carson always letting us know how he feels. I'll let that one sit by itself. Too funny. But yeah, I've been here for an hour and 15 minutes so far, guys. 68 people. Again, if you haven't already, make sure you sub the channel, hit the thumbs up on the video. Trying our best to hit 600 subs before the year is up. Would really appreciate it. I'm checking in right now where we are. 46 thumbs up. There's 70 people in here. 46 thumbs up, 48 thumbs up. Thank you so much. If you haven't already, make sure you hit the thumbs up. I said I was going to try to hit 50 on this one. We got 69. Nice. 69 people here so far. If you haven't hit the thumbs up, make sure you do. We are 2 away from 50. I said I wanted to hit 50 before the show was up. We are at 588 when it comes to subs. We're 12 subs away. You guys are awesome. You always support me. I appreciate it when I'm on here by myself, on an island, not with my partner, running the show as the host. I know we co-host, but John does a great job of hosting. I'm still getting there with this. I feel like I'm doing a decent job handling chat at the same time. 77 people are here, 49 thumbs up, 588 subs. Again, 12 away from 600. Can we hit? I'm going to stay on for a couple more minutes in hopes that we can hit that mark. If you haven't already, please sub the channel. It would be fantastic if you did to keep up with all things Till Mets Do Us Part. Checking in on the chat again. If you have any questions or things that I haven't been able to cover so far, I wish there was more to talk about. But again, it's always difficult when there's not much going on in Mets land. But check it out. We got my main man, Tyler Ward, aka Wardy NYM, in the building. Ibby, it feels sick seeing your viewers increase, right? I never take it for granted. Welcome to the community, brother. LFGM. Wardy, I appreciate you, brother. I really do. Wardy's great. Always, every time I hop on his streams and I'm in the chat, I'm giving those $2 hollers, those donos, to give some love to him and all the hard work that he's done. And I appreciate when he always makes it a point to shout out the show when I hop on over there. Much appreciated. Love the community. Love that you are spearheading the front of it, Wardy. You're doing a fantastic job, and I wish you all the best, brother, now and as well as in the new year. Thank you for everything that you've brought. We got to get you back on the show. Definitely want to get Wardy on here to have some discussion in 2024 with us, with myself, with John, as we continue to roll out top flight guests in the new year with some more things on the horizon that we're trying to close up and finish, if you will. We're almost there. So news should be coming soon when it comes to Till Mets Do Us Part in the year 2024. We're very excited about it. So we'll see. Hopefully, shortly within the new year, we can talk about those things. More giveaways and things of that nature. NY Sports coming in. What's up? What's up, NY Sports? I appreciate you, man. 52 thumbs up. Thank you so much, everybody. 68 people are here. 588. We're still stagnant on those 12 subs that we are missing. Let me just double check. Yeah, 588. We're 12 away. We're almost there. If you haven't subbed, make sure you sub the channel. Checking in again on the chat. Sap is going to have to go back to doing Catching Feelings by himself soon. Hey, Catching Feelings was where I met John when someone told me, hey, you're going to be doing the show with this guy in LA. Here's some of his stuff. And I saw Catching Feelings on the QBC channel. I saw everything that he was doing. His interview with Chris Frangiola was actually the show that I watched to get an idea of who John was before I took a phone call with him. We spoke for 35 minutes. And the next day we recorded episode 1, and we've been going strong ever since. But Catching Feelings is not coming back. Great logo of Endy's Catch. But Catching Feelings is not coming back. Till Mets Do Us Part is going to stay strong into the new year. G Money Stacks 555. Love saying it. First time being a host by yourself, and no worries, you're doing a great job, especially with the massive amount of research. I'm inspired by you guys, and I'm also a fellow podcaster for 2 years. Hey, shout out to you, G Money Stacks, and I appreciate the kind words. And look, I would say that podcasting and content creation and doing this stuff and YouTube and learning things, I've been learning so much. I love learning new things and just getting sharper when it comes to a new venture. And I've learned a lot, and it shows with how the channel's been growing and more people are seeing us and things of that nature. But it's consistency, man. Just keep pushing, keep going and going. And look, we're putting up strong numbers. I still have aspirations for a lot more, and I'm going to keep on pushing to try and get there. But The biggest thing, as other people have told me when I ask them questions, be consistent, keep going, keep pushing. Seeing 69, 70 people in here. We topped 100 people on our emergency episode about Yamamoto to the Dodgers on Friday, a day that we're never usually on. 100 people were in the room. I know it was a big news day, but the Mets content community crushed it. We had 100 people in here, and that's never lost on me. 100 people being in a room is awesome. When I was used to doing the show with John, we had like 5 people in here, which is why I'll never forget those 5 people that were always in the chat supporting us as well. So shout out to them. You know who you are. Ibby is one of our go-to guys with the QBC now. Hey, I appreciate that, Keith. I really do. Means a lot. Love being a part of the family. Love being a part of the community. It was a goal of mine. Once I saw who John was, I still have the text message to prove it. Once I found out who John was and where he worked and who he had connections with and things like that, I said I would love to be a part of the QBC one day, and I've been able to be a part of it 2 times. One with Howie Rose, one with Cliff Floyd. Being a part of it is awesome, and I appreciate you, my friend, for giving me that opportunity. It'll never be lost on me. Always appreciate it and reaching that point because I want more. I want more. And I want to keep doing it, and it means a lot. 62 people here, hour and 20 in. We're doing fantastic in terms of numbers. We might not get to 12 subs. We're still at 588. I might have to call it in a couple minutes because we're not going to hit it. 55 thumbs up, though. Appreciate it. Love it. 63 of you are still rocking with me. It's awesome. Carlos Ortiz, the honesty is what makes the show great. I love that you said that, Carlos, because that was a thing that I said from the jump with this show. We're going to be open. We're going to be honest. We're going to talk like think of it like 2 guys at a bar. 2 guys hang out, talk about the team that they love, and be honest with each other. Be open. Don't sugarcoat. No reason to. Don't be overreactionary. That's a big thing. Okay, don't be overreactionary, but be honest. I think that's what we are. And that's why I think that we've grown because of that. And it's starting to show across to more people. And that's why that's why I think the show is growing. G-Money Stacks, confidence is important too, and being yourself. Don't worry about pleasing people. You and John actually started watching y'all, and both of y'all are great. I can't wait to learn more in the future. Thank you, G-Money Stacks 555. I appreciate that, man. And confidence is important. Confidence goes a long, long way. And now I feel a lot more confident as I sit here by myself. First one I did, sweating bullets, man. Now I'm just having fun, kicking back. 63 people here, hanging out. Numbers going up and down, what have you, whatever it may be. 56 thumbs up, 588 subs. Love it. We're close. Maybe we won't get it. I'm going to give it 2 more minutes, and then I'm going to sign off. Maybe we won't get it today. But if you haven't subbed already, you're part of this 59, make sure that you do. I'm hopeful that when we hit record in 2024, January 3rd, I believe is the date. January 3rd, 2024 will be the first show of Till Mets Do Us Part in the new year. Timothy Ryder of The Apple. If you don't follow him on Twitter, Timothy R. Ryder, make sure you do so. Will be our guest, our first guest of the new year, which is fitting because Timothy was our first ever guest on Till Mets Do Us Part way back when. I think it was 2 off seasons ago now. He was our first guest that we had on the show. We're bringing him back. It's been a while. Met Tim at the QBC. I know he just did a spot with Ant on Subway to Shea on his live a couple weeks back. Did a great job, as always. Going to have Tim back on here. We're going to have some fun talking Mets. And I hope at that point we have a little bit more to go off of. This was an open-ended episode. There was some stuff to talk about, but for the most part, it was just me having a conversation with you guys. And I loved every minute of it. I really did. 65 of you still here rocking with me. We're coming up on an hour 25. It's been amazing. I've barely drank any water. And if anyone watches me, you know that I frequently drink water during the show. So if you don't mind, I'm going to, quench this thirst real quick. Thank you. Usually I go through 2 bottles. I haven't even gone through 1 yet. So I've been talking a lot. 68 of you are here. Fantastic, which means that the video is hitting more and more people. It's great. I love it. 59 57 thumbs up. Thank you so much, guys. My horse, Paul Revere, my horse is available for a special guest spot if you got an opening. He's smart and witty and a diehard Mets fan. Never doesn't pop me. It always pops me. Oh, man. Wish I would have known about the show from its inception. Hey, the fact is, Carlos, you're here now. You're here now, and that's all that matters. Believe me, in the beginning, not many people knew about the show. We were audio only. By the time we got to YouTube, we had like I said, 5 people. We maxed out like 12 people, and it's only recently that it really started blowing up a little bit more and more. But it takes time. But I appreciate that you are here, and you are someone that a name that I won't forget because you were here when we barely had anybody in the chat, and we still make it a point to make sure we shout you out on the show. 69 people here. Nice. Coming up on an hour, 26 minutes. Covered about all that I could. I think we had some fun with it. G-Stacks. G-Money Stacks 555. Go ahead and keep yourself hydrated when you're doing podcast recordings. Doing my best, man. Doing my best. First timers, if you don't know, the cup that I drink from is my logo. Thanks to Athlete Logos, helped me create this one. Building character since 1962. As always, that's what our Mets do. We build character. As always. Hopefully we can start building winners. That'd be the idea. Teacher to teacher. God bless you, Carlos, for being an educator. God bless you for being an education. Lisa G. Miss Met herself. Lisa G coming on in. Happy New Year, everybody. Continued success with John in the new year. LGM. Love Lisa. Lisa's fantastic. I finally got a chance to get the famous Lisa G selfie at the QBC. Loved it. It was fantastic meeting you. You were super kind and nice. It was great to talk Mets with you and just meet a lot of cool people at the QBC. It was fantastic. Yes, G-Money Stacks 555. I molded the cup myself. No. It was an idea I always had in my head, and I asked Dan Abrams, aka Athlete Logos, to help me out with the design, and he did so, and he brought my idea to life. So I'm forever thankful to him for helping me with that one. So appreciate it. I got it on a couple shirts too. Tony coming in here with a with a shot. The collapse at the Padres has been great this entire offseason. I love it. Just a random Padres shot. Why not? Frank coming in. Let's go, Mets. Thank you, Frank. I appreciate it. 66 people. I'm going to close that at an hour 30. So 2 more minutes. Give a little bit more time. But yeah, guys, it's been fantastic. Thank you so much. I hate leaving when the room is so crowded, but there's not much else to talk about. I really wish that there was something here. Oh, hold on. Eats the boy coming in with something. Let me get this one for Eats the boy. Bob had a baby. Eats the boy. Everyone is crying about Yamamoto, but don't realize that Roku Sasaki is probably coming over next year. And personally, I think he's even better than Yamamoto. He's the young ace Japan that also pitched in the WBC. Look, Roki Sasaki, 6'4", 200 plus pounds. It's big. Throws hard. 102 miles an hour. He's got the stuff. Young kid as well. Will he go the Ohtani route and forfeit money to try and get posted early so he only gets paid with international money? Will he sacrifice that just to get out? I don't know. But now he's the apple of a lot of people's eyes because Roki Sasaki is legit. He throws hard. He's special. And, does the money of Yamamoto make him want to wait? Or is he going to sacrifice it to come here, prove himself, and then eventually get that big payday because he can afford to because he is young? It's going to be very interesting to watch. And coming in, I'm upset that there wasn't any Chad Smith talks. Chad Smith talked about. The only Smith I talk about on my show is the great Joe Smith. I loved Joe Smith back in the day. Shout out to any Mets fans who've been watching long enough to know who Joe Smith is. I loved Joe Smith. Left us, went to Cleveland, bounced around a little bit. I think he ended up in Houston at one point too. I love Joe Smith. He was one of my guys when he was here in New York. But that's all I got, guys. Hour 30. We rocked it. 58 people were going down now. I get it. We're kind of just BSing and having some fun at this point. But thank you so much, each and every one of you. This is also going to be a podcast version. It'll be out tomorrow morning. So if you want to listen back, if you missed anything, you can do that on the audio. Or if you want to keep watching me and my lovely mug, not according to Dodger Twitter. Dodger Twitter thinks I'm an ugly MFer, which is fine. Whatever. Had some fun with that one. But shout out to each and every one of you. Thank you so much for the continued support. This is the last show before the new year, so I'm going to sit here and I'm going to say Happy New Year to each and every one of you. I wish you all happy and a healthy. Stick with us. A lot of big things in 2024 for Till Mets Do Us Part, for myself and John. We wish you all the best. And thank you for rocking with us. It means the world. If you haven't subbed already, make sure you sub the channel. Hit that bell for notifications. If you haven't liked the video, make sure you like the video as well. It helps us in continuing to spread the word of Till Mets Do Us Part and growing us within this awesome, awesome, awesome New York Mets content creator community. Shout out to Ant, Subway to Shea. Shout out to Interstate Mets Pod. Shout out to Mets Weekly. Shout out to Wardy. Shout out to the Mets Pod. Shout out to Mets Up. Shout out to Subway to Shea. So everyone, love you all. You're fantastic. Each and every one of you, thank you so much. Happy New Year. And I'm going to find my video so we can sign off. But with that being said, guys, thank you so much. I will see you in 2024. Later.